This is Slow to Pro. I'm Del Robin Jr. III, and I just figured out how to be a little faster via some settings that I had messed up. There's something called a maximum brake limit in the settings, and what I went ahead and did was press my brake pedal until my chair started to move, and then I adjust the brake limit down to match that red bar, which currently represents my brake pedal input. So we slide that down, and right about there. Yeah, that way if I push a little harder, it can lock up. Make sure you save those settings. I went ahead and loaded mine because I already had mine set. I'm just double checking, and that looks good. So here we are at Misano. This is a track that I probably have less than 20 laps on. I tried to get a few laps in earlier, and that was really more of an exercise in getting back onto the track after not having the brakes to bring this little she-devil down to a manageable pace. Here I am, brakes calibrated, and let's find a new excuse as to why I can't stay on the track. I've been enjoying Misano so far. This first section coming up sweeps right, then left, then back right, and I'm awful at it, which is what makes it fun. I come in a little too shallow and a bit slow, and then I run a bit wide with too much speed. And that's going to be a common theme, I think, braking. I saw a lot of videos about the brake pedal on the Logitech G920. People saying to take out the rubber stopper. That just made me put the pedal to the floor under all braking conditions. I saw a comment where someone said they added a piece of sponge in addition to the little rubber stopper, and it made their brakes feel just like the van. I didn't get the joke about spongy brakes because I'm so new, so by the time I got the joke, I had already cut the sponge up, shoved it in the spring, and put it back together. So it turned out that it's a pretty good solution. Feels much more realistic under trail braking. Yeah, a little more like the real thing. So we're coming up on the fast section. It's three right-handers, and you gotta turn while braking kinda heavily for turn 13. There's 11, here's 12, and here it is. It's really tricky to not get this rear engine Porsche swing around like some bored couple trying to spice it up. I'm finding it's really important to be smooth with all my inputs, smooth into the brakes, smooth off the brakes, just ice baby smooth. Can't touch this. That's not me. I sort of stomp on the brakes like a teenager that's not sure if that was a groundhog or a small dog that he just ran over. So in other words, I lose a lot of time for really no reason. There's a 139.86, which is by every stretch and definition of the word, it's slow. But watching this back, I can see this pretty little lady is expecting a lot more of me, and like most of the women in my life, she's going to be disappointed. I'm going to keep pushing her buttons till she comes completely undone and leaves me for good. We're heading into a straight here with some green time on the clock, and we just lost a little bit of time there with that fumble on the power. We're heading into a big braking zone, which is where I usually struggle, but I'm finally starting to catch some hints on what this German lady likes. She's still confusing me for the most part. Bit of a language barrier, I think. At this point, I'm still picking up time in most sections of this track by simply learning the course. You know what they say, if you know where you're going, you know where you're headed. And I'm still trying to figure that out, and I don't. I still don't know where I'm going or headed, but I am picking up time, keeping the laps green, and I've heard people say that specifically with racing. It's best to compete with yourself, especially as a newcomer. And as a newcomer, I can tell you firsthand that's actually all you can do. That's it. It's like being a teenager again. A lot of alone time, working on a craft that some people might be ashamed of, some people might be proud of. You definitely know you're getting better at it each time because you get the job done a little quicker, and you start to like it so much that you try to tell your friends about it. They give you weird looks, start trying to explain how it feels just like the real thing, maybe even better because there's no real risk when you come up the inside of someone. I guess sim racing isn't for everyone. So we just finished our fastest lap so far. It's a 138.36, still slow. It's a whole second and a half faster than the last lap time we mentioned, which was a 139.86, which that's actually exactly a second and a half faster. I think from here on, we're going to watch me struggle to find extra time, because the line between extra time and the wall, it's Barbie pole fishing line. It's thin. It's so thin. The thin Oreos are fat. And the cool thing about being this slow though is sometimes I can lose a full second in the first half of the lap, but I can gain 2 seconds in the back half of the lap and end up with a new personal best. That's fun. During my research, I found some comments and YouTube videos mentioning race pace, and so I found a chart from Racing Club International, which I'll link to in the description. I'm still trying to get my times down from the rookie section into the amateur section, and for Misano, that would be consistent times under 137.5. So my personal best is still about 9/10 into the rookie times, and that's my personal best, not my consistent time. And that's also not with 80 liters of fuel, which, if you believe math, makes the car a lot heavier. But I'm definitely not at the point of saving time due to the fuel load or anything like that. Not that I think, anyway. I think for the next video, I might try to do a 10-minute race against the AI. I'll probably keep the AI tuned down a bit. I just really want to practice getting through some traffic and then doing a few hot laps, because that's really what I need to practice with, just getting speed. That way I can hold off people behind me and maybe even start catching some people in front of me. Might make for more entertaining content as well, to see some other cars. We'll see. I lost some time here by being a little too aggressive with the braking. Didn't trail off the brakes as soon as I should have. I end up holding a tighter line than ideal, but I get some of that speed back in turn 6, headed for the straight, and we get the lap back to even for the moment. And I stress to you, as I do the women of my life, that I choose my words very carefully when I say for the moment, because I'm about to unnecessarily shift down into first gear, because not only am I slow, I'm also offline, which is also making me slow. So I'm like a bad race chemist, mixing up a concoction of too much brakes, not enough line, tons of extra lap time, and I'm drinking it up. I'm drinking it. I'm getting behind the wheel, and can't nobody tell me shit. We're losing a little bit of lap time here. I'm only down 2/10 so far, and I think that's how this lap is going to finish. We're going to find a little bit of time here. Sabina stretches her legs headed into turn 13, which I'm starting to get comfortable with, easing onto the brakes, getting heavier as she settles onto her front suspension. And I came in with good braking, and I left with not enough speed, and that's a consistent issue for me. Exit speed. Yep, exit speed. Still finding it difficult to figure out how slow I'm actually going until this little lady's slipping down the pole too quickly to catch herself, and at that point it's hard to get the grip back down quick and get going in the direction we need to be going in. So we finished that lap down 2/10, and that's better than down 3/10 if we're strictly staying positive. Hit the first turn better than usual, gain a little bit of time, proceed to lose it all, and invalidate the lap by exceeding the track limits right about there. Tried to keep my left tires on the curb, but I guess I dove in a little hot.
Track limits, please, Dale.
Mind your track limits, please, Dale. I really don't know if the curbs are considered part of the track or not. I saw some stuff about keeping at least one, but maybe at least 2 tires within track limits. I really don't actually know, and it seems inconsistent at times. Pair that with the fact that some of the curbs only seem to want to murder you. There's different shapes of curbs, and if you hit the wrong one, it sends you sliding faster than Jake Paul from Real Boxers. So now you've got these killer lap invalidating curbs, not all of them. So you're scared of them, all of them, because you should be. It's kind of like watching one of them alligator trainers. They're not really trainers. We both know that. If that human keeps sticking their head in there, bad things are going to happen. That's kind of how the curbs are in ACC. If you're paying attention to the footage, I'm definitely not lighting the track on fire, but I am starting to find a bit of consistency out of myself, which my ex-wife Sheila would be astonished to hear. Baby, please come back. And we're coming up to the final turn here with some green time, even though the lap is invalid, and I do a better job than usual, so I end up gaining some time, and we're able to finish looking like I'm starting to figure out how to drive. Still slow. If you'd like to see more, subscribe. If not,